Hey everyone, I'm Dylan, the creative director at Atypical, which is a marketing agency specifically focused on commercial real estate in the USA. I'm here today with my friend, colleague, and namesake, Dylan Jabber. We're going to be talking about the new benchmarks report that we've just released. I think this is going to be a game changer in the industry.
I'm Dylan Jabber, head of digital strategy at Atypical, and today we're going to take you through why having benchmarks in commercial real estate is so important.
The craziest thing to me is that this is the first time this has been done. That's wild.
This is the first of its kind in commercial real estate. So every other industry in the world has benchmarks for their digital marketing and their ads, and we've never had that. You know, real estate's got it, but commercial real estate doesn't.
We actually wonder how they've been assessing their marketing up until now. There you go.
Yeah.
CRE's relied for so long on the phone call, the lunch meeting, the handshake, the convention. As they sort of evolve into the space of digital marketing, it feels like this is one of the fundamental lessons to learn.
It's the findings show it. The campaigns that we've been running for our clients, the money that they're putting in versus the return is crazy through digital marketing now. As the world is relying more and more in this space on their phone, we run an ad campaign through all these different channels that all work together. It costs us $500, and we're filling that space in a month. That return on the investment is so huge. So I think the industry is starting to realize it, and I think it doesn't work in a silo. You still need your brokers out there. You still need those guys pushing the properties, all of those things. And your sales teams, but I think this digital marketing aspect is such a massive add-on to the way that you're marketing properties or your tools that you're not going to be able to kind of ignore it for too much longer.
Why are benchmarks important when it comes to CRE marketing?
It's really important that we have them so that the money that you're putting in, you're understanding where it's going and if you're doing a good job or not, basically.
So this benchmark report is, of course, specifically for the commercial real estate industry, right? But I guess within, it's a fairly broad church. There's a lot of different companies, and the benchmarks are going to be different, I imagine, for different types of companies.
Yeah, so we've broken this up into owner-operators, REITs, and brokerages as kind of a whole, and then the CRE-tech companies, because they have such different models and such different sales cycles. One company's lead is not another company's lead. Before we didn't know if what we're paying for a lead was good or not. And I think we've got a good idea now that if the rest of the industry is paying X amount for every lead that they get, if you're paying too much, you need to find ways to bring that back down. And that's going to help understand how you budget for certain channels as well. So we've got benchmarks against all of the social channels, all of the paid channels, as well as the organic stuff, engagement rates and stuff like that. I mean, the data that we collect is probably over 8,000 pieces of content and ads over the last few years that we've collected. And we took all of the organic content that the industry has been producing, and we basically dived into that data to understand how your organic social should be performing as well, because I think a lot of commercial real estate companies get very despondent when they're putting a lot of effort into social media and they just, it falls flat a lot of the time. They don't get a lot of engagement or comments or shares and those types of things. And I think a lot of the industry still relies on that as a mark of success. So what we've done is we've actually tiered the industry. So, the top of the tier, the sort of CBREs, JLLs of the world that have got millions of followers, we've actually tiered engagement for that. So based on where your brokerage is and how many followers you've got, we've looked at organic benchmarks for engagement. So if you fall within this category, you should be getting this sort of engagement on your content. And I think it's been hard for companies to understand if that social media is even working, is getting 5 likes on a post the same as what everyone else is getting, and I think if you aren't doing that consistent, weekly check-ins on all your competitors organically, it's a very hard thing to do. So this giving you a nice idea of how you can benchmark your organic socials too. It's an exciting time, I think, for marketers to be able to start comparing themselves to what everyone else is doing.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems so logical and essential, so that the spend is worth your while. Because effectively, if you're going to be putting more money into your marketing than it's going to bring business in, you're not just wasting your time, you're slowly depleting your reserves.
Yeah, and from what we've seen from the results, the likes of Google search and those search ads from if you're a brokerage or an owner operator, we can see from those results that those are the channels. That channel specifically is driving the most lead conversions. But one of the most interesting things we found was that without the other channels creating all that awareness, so the likes of Google Display and LinkedIn and Facebook, etc., without that, those leads didn't really come in. So we saw that this whole ecosystem was working together, in that if you didn't have all these moving parts, one channel alone wasn't doing a good enough job with everything. And that was a really interesting finding for us, because I think a lot of companies would focus just on LinkedIn, the B2B audience is there. So let's, double down on LinkedIn. But we found that if you only used LinkedIn, it became very, very expensive. So using those other channels to create awareness for your properties, or if you're a tech company, for your product, that helped to drive that audience down the funnel into your Google search ads. And we could attribute that entire journey. And without that information, without doing this report, I don't think that the marketers out there that would, putting money behind these channels were understanding if they were working and reporting back to the executive committees. How do you then say to them, hey guys, we need more money for our marketing?
Yeah, because you also might be fooling yourself thinking, you're spending X amount every month, and you come to the company report and saying, well, this got us 3 leads, this is great. But you might find your competitors for a similar amount are getting 8, 9, 10 leads, in which case you obviously need to reassess.
And I mean, how would you know that, right? Without having a benchmark. Yeah. If you're running a business, you're running a brokerage, you're running a CRE SaaS tool, where's that money lying in my marketing? How much am I putting in versus how much is the company getting out? And I think all the other industries in the world have kind of got this down to a science. And every year these benchmarks come out and the guys are like, okay, cool. Like, we need to reconfigure our marketing plans to use this channel. Like, do we need to start using TikTok? So without understanding that, as you said, like we just shooting in the dark and then hoping for results. Posting a few times on social media is not going to increase your revenue. The benchmarks themselves become Bible of sorts for you. If you're unsure of what you're doing, you can look at these benchmarks and go, I'm not doing this well. Like, I can see I'm not doing this well. Like, we're spending way too much money on this. And it comes down to money at the end of the day, let's be honest. So you're now able to look at your budgets and say, okay, cool, with these benchmarks, we should be spending this amount of money every year, and we should be getting these results if we're doing all of these things correctly.
This report will already start getting people to pin results to actions.
I think it's been very hard for commercial real estate marketers, whether you're a brokerage, owner-operator, CRE SaaS company, whatever you are. I think it's been hard to set KPIs for yourselves.
It's hard to imagine how you would create those KPIs without essentially looking out the window and seeing how you compare industry-wide. Otherwise, you're really just sucking the number out of your thumb.
You look at past performance of yourself, which is still, could be wrong.
So the report is available right now. You can find the link in the description. Check it out. We'd really encourage you to do that. And we think you're going to find it really eye-opening. And this is definitely something we're going to keep doing to make sure that the industry maintains a certain standard going forward.
100%.